Walls are for losers. Walls are for losers. Desperate. Don't want to face facts. You build a wall. Now here's America, trying to tell its world how free it is, rights, and is putting up repression, which is a wall. Segregation, separation. Because all the other stuff Republicans are trying to tell you about fear, fear, is all just their usual horse manure fraud. Now there's America trying to build a kind of 21st century version of the Berlin Wall. Now remember, why would America copy the great failure of the Berlin Wall? Now, Berlin Wall, Russia had taken over, after World War II, had taken over the eastern part of Germany and was administering that in this chaos after World War II. Well, people in Germany wanted to get the hell out from the commies and go to the western part of the Germany, which was being run by the Brits, America, the French. And they were leaving. And so at the behest of Russia, they built a wall, blocked East Germans from leaving. And that wall was in place until 1989. Repression, failure, couldn't handle the issues, build a wall. That's what walls are. Now there's another wall that you, American taxpayers, paid for. Though you don't talk about it, you don't hear about it. And that's Israel building a wall. Separate out, segregate out the Islamic Palestinian people. Now there's another example of tremendous failure, repression. Because the Israelis violently threw out, overran, and drove off the Islamic Palestinian people and the, at that time, Jewish minority population took over and said, now we're Israel. We're a Jewish state. And so in the meantime, afterwards, well, here's all these Islamic Palestinian people who had been the majority population in the area for centuries. And now they've had their land stolen by this new group calling themselves the Israelis. And so for years and years we've heard of nothing but the ongoing fighting and back and forth, which is really the Jewish minority segregating, repressing the Islamic Palestinian majority population. And as the Jewish minority can't handle the facts, can't handle the ongoing stress and trauma of the situation, of its denial and repression, in desperation it has built a wall with the assistance of American taxpayer money, because American taxpayers pay in foreign aid money. They pay Israel $3 billion a year. And there's no accounting for it. It just goes, I'll give Israel, we got to keep Israel happy, because, we got all these Jewish voters in America, and, if we just, you won't get the Jewish vote, It's become completely political. But it doesn't face the fact of Israel's repression, segregation, and now an apartheid system of segregation to the Islamic Palestinian people. And for All those years, from 1948 when Israel declared itself Israel, all the way through, it's been America who's been footing the bill to help Israel get started when they had basically really no economy, and kept funding them and giving them military assistance, military hardware, and military aid and military training, and its brutality was turned around against the Islamic Palestinian people. Can you hear September 11th coming in here yet? Well, finally, Israel in the last years here has gotten so out of it, so repressive, so right-wing, just like the Republicans are in the U.S., that they build a wall. They took your American taxpayer money and they started building a wall. Segregation, failure, separation, fear. Don't face the facts of what happened and how to resolve it peacefully. So here in the U.S. is building the new Berlin Wall across the southern border, or trying to get the money for it, or propagandizing with Trump and Republican idiots trying to propagandize, fear, all you got to do. And instead, they're not facing the facts. Because the facts are too, doggone it, they just cause too much, facing the facts instead of the delusions and denials of American policy. Because all this stuff, look, you should say, well, why? What's this deal going on from Mexico south that all these Latin American people are just heading out and want to get the hell out? And it all stems from American policy that created the disaster and maintains the disaster of economic disaster, government policy that's going from Mexico south. Just look at your history. It's there. So what would be the issues that you'd have to rectify to get out, change this around, not build a wall, but deal with the issue? Well, folks, you got overpopulation from Mexico south because of the stupidity of the religion. Saying babies, 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 no abortion, no birth control, babies, baby, baby. There's the effect, overpopulation, and no economic possibility for vast numbers of people to have jobs, to have employment, and isn't there. Desperate poverty. And, of course, the big one that everybody talks about once they get out of office, but once they're in office, they say, gotta keep up. But once they get out of office, they say, the drug war is a failure. Complete failure. But nobody has the balls to step in there and just say, time to end it. It is a failure. Time to end it. We have to legalize. We have to run the market, not criminal enterprise. Because that's what's happening from Mexico south. Vast billions upon billions of dollars is going to criminal gangs, drug gangs, year after year after year. And since they have the biggest cash flow, they're a big employer. And since they've got so much money, they also have taken over government, police, and military throughout Mexico South, Latin America. And it's all because of maintaining America's stupid and failed war on drugs, which is never going to change. unless you get rid of it. The only option now is to say, ending this disaster, this stupidity. We have to legalize it. We run the market. See what I mean? So instead they say, oh, build a wall. Build a wall, because you can't deal with the religion thing about, overpopulation, no birth control, no abortion, oh, geez. These Christian wackos in America, they just saying babies, babies, babies too. And once you say, all right, from Mexico South, we got to have, more birth control, access to birth control, more access to abortion, birth control, all the way through the system. And it's okay, and, then these Christian nuts are, that's just, it's immoral, oh boy, oh jeez. You can hear them. I want to face the facts. And Mexico South, it's also advantageous to the corporations down there anyway. Because they don't pay squat. They don't pay any money. They don't have to. They got such a huge pool of people begging for work. They can just say, I'll give you a few dollars a day. And they go, okay, oh geez, all right, I'll take it. That's because you had babies, 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 and babies. That's the end result. Poverty. Desperate. That's reality. Now, here's one you can find on the news here just recently. This caravan thing has been coming up from all throughout Latin America, and it's been making news, thousands in a group coming through in particular. Well, they got up to the American border. So now they're asylum seekers. They're seeking asylum legitimately to get into America. They're not racing across the border like Trump and these idiots are trying to say, oh, this is an invading army, stupidity, hysteria. Isn't it something that these right-wing nuts, all they can give you is just hysteria? Everybody gets just, on the Fox News and right-wing talk radio, all it is hysteria, racism. So they pitched this hysteria about these people coming up. Well, when they got to the border of America there, and they're in Tijuana and other cities along there are corporations right along that Mexican side of the border. And they've been there for years off and on, And they're there because they get away with environmental pollution. They don't have to keep up any safety standards. They don't have to pay much. So these are American companies that went just to cross the border. So they get cheap, cheap, cheap labor. And they're interviewing these people who'd come up. And they're taking some of these job opportunities that are there with these corporate disasters, malicadores, right across the border in Mexico. And they pay $1.80 an hour. $1.80 an hour. And these people are saying, oh, that's great, I'll take it. Now, folks, think of it. You, an American, you think you're going to work for $1.80 an hour? It wouldn't pay for anything. You wouldn't get anywhere. You work 40-hour week, and all you get is maybe like $75 take home or something? You're going to pay rent, you're going to pay cars, you're going to pay your food, you're going to pay... That's stupidity. But that's how desperate the situation is. That $1.80 an hour sounds good. And that's from overpopulation, from all these Christian wackos saying babies, babies, and babies. There you're, reaping what they sowed. And, of course, the other one, the drug wars, the stupidity of America's drug war, ongoing fraud and failure that has only provided billions upon billions of dollars year after year to these various gangs that are now digital and international, right? Think of it, you have to legalize. But no, can't talk about that. That's too, geez, America can't face those things. Oh my God, they'd just freak out, right? You can hear the right-wing Fox News and talk radio just going hysteria crazy. Legalizing drugs. Oh, geez, it's just like, oh no, they'd be just going over the top. So, the only thing anybody can think of these Republican wackos is to think, build a wall. Build a wall, we won't face the facts, we won't have to deal with it. Just build a wall, just build a wall, we won't talk about it. That's what Republicans are. Failure and fraud. Repression. Building walls. Segregation. Denial. Religious hysteria. Dark age stuff.